All right, here we go. Video on lesson 4 from unit 4. These here are writing linear equations in context. These seem to be a little bit harder for most of my students every semester. So if you're really really struggling with this, don't panic, okay? Because everybody kind of struggles with this. They're okay with here's an equation, graph it, but if I give you a word problem and ask you to come up with all of it, it's hard for people to see it sometimes, okay? So we're going to look at 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to leave number 5 for you guys to try. Remember, all you have to do is try, okay? I understand under the circumstances, I can't expect you to get everything exactly right without me being right there with you, okay? I get it, all right? Just try your best. So here we go. So we're going to look at 1 and 2 first. All right, to prepare for a recent road trip, Jill filled up her 19-gallon tank. She estimates that her SUV will use about 3 gallons per hour. All right, so they want us to write an equation based off this. Now, so notice I really emphasized per hour, okay? Remember, when I hear per hour, per day, per month, whatever, usually that's my indicator of my slope. Now, another key word there is use, okay? So is she gaining 3 gallons every hour, or is she losing? She should be losing. So under the slope, right? Slope for this question will be -3, okay? So that's what you're going to write on that first little line. All right, and then it says real world meaning, okay? That's just gallons used an hour, right? Every hour, okay? All right, then back over here. Our other number we have is 19-gallon tank. All right, so 19-gallon tank, what do you think that represents? Hopefully you said y-intercept, because that's where I'm starting from, okay? So y-intercept would be 19, and that real world meaning, I just shorthand it, means full tank, right? All right, so everybody good on that? We got our slope and our y-intercept, and I apologize about my handwriting. It's not really that pretty when I'm trying to do this, but I'm doing my best. I'm trying my best. All right, so slope is -3. That's how many gallons you used every hour, and my y-intercept is 19. That's a full tank of gas. Now, the only other thing that we need that they want to know is x-intercept. Now, if I think about that, when I'm thinking x-intercept, I'm thinking where it crosses the x-axis, okay? So that's going to be how many hours until we are empty, right? So if I take 19 and divide it by 3, because I'm writing it down here real quick. 19 divided by 3, that'll tell me how many hours until I'm empty. And it's actually 6.3 repeating, okay? So that becomes my x-intercept. All right? So, and that would be, what is this? Hours? Okay. Hours until empty. Okay? Now, obviously, you would be filling up before you ran out of gas. Okay? But if, for whatever reason, you're like my brother, who literally ran out of gas, okay, you're going to just keep going and going and then be stuck on the side of the road. And yes, that's a true story. All right. And he's older than me. Okay. All right. So then the last thing is equation. All right. So equation. Now, if I remember correctly, the only thing I need for an equation is y equals mx plus b, right? So I need to fill in my slope and my y-intercept. Well, if I look up here, my slope is -3. So that's going to go here, -3. And y-intercept is 19. So that's going to go here. Does that make sense? That's the first one. Okay. All right. Give me just a second. Let me erase this stuff. So there again, slope, -3. Real world meaning, gallons used per per hour every hour. Y-intercept 19, real world meaning full tank. X-intercept, remember we divided. 19 divided by 3, give me 6.3. That's hours until empty. And there's our equation. Y equals negative 3x plus 19. All right? So, everybody good on that first one? All right, second one. I'll do this one and then I'll make another video on 3 and 4. All right, Roberto deposits the same amount of money each month into a checking account. Use the table to the right to write an equation to model his balance B after M months. Okay, so they give us a table of values, okay? Now this one's a little more challenging. So I'm going to do some math down here. So after first month, he had 255. Third month, he had 365. And 6th month, he had 530. Now, you can pick any one of these and figure out your slope, right? So I'm just going to use these first two. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so 3 minus 1 is 2, right? And then 365 minus 255 would be 110, right? And if I divide by 2, that would give me 55. Okay, so my slope is 55. Does that make sense? Let me turn my video this way. Does that make sense? Okay, so that tells me he's depositing $55 into his account every month. So that would be my slope. So slope is 55. Now, I'm depositing. So if I'm depositing, I'm going up, right? So it's a positive slope. Real world meaning, that's the amount of his deposit, right? Amount of deposit per month. All right? Everybody good on that part? Okay, now, if the first month he ended up being at 255, he started out at $200, right? Because at 255, he's already deposited $155. So I got to subtract to go backwards to figure out at 0, it'd be at $200. So that's the amount he started with, right? Okay. And then x-intercept. The x-intercept, if I think about this, that's going to be when y is 0. And this is going to be a weird one because if I think about it, if he's starting off at $200 and he's depositing $55 a month, he's never really going to be at $0, is he? Realistically, okay? But if I take 200 and divide by negative 55, I'd figure out my x-intercept will be at negative 3.63, repeating, okay? That would mean that at negative 3, almost negative 4 months ago, he had $0, okay? It's really not, how do I want to say that? Not realistic. I can't spell. I go blank sometimes, guys. Not realistic for our scenario, right? Okay. We don't know how much money he had 4 months ago, okay? We don't know if he'd been saving all that time, okay? All right, then my equation would be y equals whatever x plus whatever b. So slope, remember, was 55. So that goes here. And my y-intercept was 200. So that's going to go here. All right, I hope that's helpful. And I will be posting a video on the other two in just a few minutes. I'll try to do them a little faster.